Vincent and the Grenadines and across the Eastern Caribbean. Today's scripture reading is taken from Psalms 25, verses 1 to 3. In you, Lord, my God, I put my trust. I trust in you. Do not let me be put to shame, nor let my enemies triumph over me. No one who hopes in you will ever be put to shame, but shame will come on those who are treacherous without cause. Show me your ways, Lord. Teach me your paths. Of course, welcome to the Shakeup program. I'm the technical operator for today's program, Narissa Sandy. Of course, if you wish to make a contribution, you can call us on air at 4579997. Send us a WhatsApp text or WhatsApp message at 1784 our digital number. You can call that number as well at 532-9997. Our moderator for today is Mr. Augustine Ferdinand. Good morning to you. I'm very hoarse this morning.
Good morning to you, Narissa. Good morning to the listeners of Star FM. Those of you who are joining us abroad in the diaspora. Greetings to those of you who are locked on via Garifuna Radio in North Windward. Those of you, of course, on social media via the live on WEFM 99.9 Facebook page. Wherever you are this blessed morning, I first of all want to apologize for the very late start on today's program. We really and truly won't make it a habit. But as usual, it's an interactive program. And the numbers to call and get interactive with us are 784-457-9997. That's 784-457-9997. And you can call or send us messages on the WhatsApp number 784-457-9994. That's 784-457-9994. Well, on today's program, I want to touch on one or two things that apart from, of course, the ELP celebration rally, that's still trending on topical throughout this week. I couldn't help but listen to a particular program yesterday. I think it was Hot 97, where they were focusing on Renault Industries. As for those who don't know, Renault Industries, of course, is looking to purchase produce from farmers here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, and of course extend it across the OECS, basically to sell regionally and globally. It says here in St. Vincent Times, Renault Industries buy and markets Vinci agricultural produce. Renault Industries is a St. Vincent and the Grenadines purchasing and marketing agency established to create an additional supply chain for local produce. The company, which operates in Lauders and Rosebank, but has created a national buzz throughout all farming communities. Farmers can now call or visit the buying stations and outline the goods they have to sell. The goods, once delivered, are graded and the farmer is paid immediately. The company then, through a national supply chain platform, sells to off-takers locally, regionally, and internationally. It is the intention of the platform, which is Renault Industries. It is the intention of the platform, basically, to continue expand this particular venture and export to various countries weekly. So that's Renault Industries. Now, like I said, this is by Renault Industries. Of course, the founder of the company is Renault, who also is operating or has approval to operate the quarry in North Leeward. But one of the things I heard on a particular program, the program, like I said, they had on Hot 97, is that I don't know, there are some persons who are objecting to this sort of initiative. One being because um, it's a company headed by Reno himself. And I hear some persons saying, well, why it have to be him? Why it can't be any local person? Also, there's the whole talk that, well, now that he's into buying projects into agriculture, what then happens with quarry? And that it's a sign that nothing is happening down there with the quarry. But for me, and for this doesn't take away from any opportunity that is available for any local company to do likewise. Yeah, I want to say it again. It does not take away or prevent any other company, local, whether it may be cooperatives and persons coming together to do likewise. The second thing, to the marketing board from before, well, many persons, Minister of Agriculture said that the government, of course, under his stint as Minister of Agriculture, looking to basically have more or less a marketing agency and will work along with farmers and other various stakeholders. This, to me, adds to that. I think we should be happy that there's a private sector initiative. And this is the other thing that's troubling to me, is that there are those who often call for government, like those who say, well, you should have a marketing co-op by the state. But there are those who say that the government should not, but at the same time, bashing this sort of initiative by Reno. And for many local farmers across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where you have a private sector initiative, such as Reno Industries, and there are others actually, the size of the company and network and influence regionally. In basically assisting our farmers in supplying various markets. And this isn't only regional, but international. It's very important because one of the things farmers have been talking about is market. We want to know where the markets are to sell. You can't just produce and then just limit to local. They're looking also at regional market. Yes, bananas went on the decline. We need to look at something else. Yes, we of course export chocolate from refined cocoa, and there's cocoa company here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. But you have to look at other things. And to me, Reno Industries with this venture, of course, they have the larders, the Pond Lake where farmers go and carry their produce, and they are paid instantly. And there's the other one at Rose Bank. This works well for many of our farmers. So I don't know why there are those out there who would want to bash something which adds value to our economy and our agricultural sector. I really don't know why. I don't know whether it's because it's in the Reno. I don't know whether it's because it's happening under the ULP government. But we are looking at advancing our agricultural sector, diversifying our sector, modernizing our sector. And in this situation where you have basically an agency or entity or business that is buying from farmers and based on the grade, which markets are going to sell to. because there are standards. It's very we should be happy about it, because they're also making sure that there's income that is generated. You're going to have many other farmers. There are lands out there, persons can go into leasehold arrangements and farm because there's opportunity. That is what the government is about, creating opportunity and avenues for those with ideas to take those ideas and help start something and adding value to our economy. It's the same reason why I have Prime, so that persons can take those ideas in the mind, put them on paper, and take it from the paper and make it into reality. That is what this government is about, creating opportunities for many to thrive, to grow. And this is one of those initiatives, of course, undertaken by Renault Industries. I remember there are those who said, well, we are exporting livestock, talk about cattle and the like, abroad, and that is creating a shortage on the market. And then cease the exportation of livestock because of that. And I was baffled. I don't know about you, but I was baffled. That we should cease the exportation of livestock. Why would you do that? You have a market opportunity. The moment you cease export, the buyer, of course, still have to continue to get a supply. It may very well happen that where the alternative supply, you may not be able to enter into that market anymore. For me, where you have shortages is opportunity. You simply increase on your production. That's the opportunity. You get involved. So I really don't know why there are some who go into this bashing thing. And of course, the Ministry of Agriculture, you have many initiatives, like I said, in terms of production support. The Minister of Agriculture announced even recently that we're looking to have more fertilizers coming from Morocco. You have 15,000 sacks of urea donated by the government and people of Venezuela. You also have over $27 million recovery support to farmers. You have $1 million in farm labor service support. You have support in fishery through the KCC and government initiative, the partial guarantee initiative. And that is why it brings me to the other point where I hear some persons say, well, the government isn't doing anything in agriculture or fisheries or overall the productive sector. When you look at fisheries and agriculture, they're very big. They're part of our productive sector here, and a major part too of our productive sector here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And no one can dispute the fact that this government has made significant investments in these two sectors. Can't dispute that. And that is why you see more and more, and even young persons are getting involved. And you see it inside your supermarkets. You see the packaged and processed goods because of the initiatives taken in helping to grow these sectors. So we should all be happy that Renault Industries is undertaking this initiative because it benefits our farmers in the respective communities across St. Vincent and Grenadines. Or maybe I didn't want to go down this one. But maybe the other reason why there are some who are vexed is that where you continue to have these opportunities, then, you might say like a lick out that, well, they can't allow these things to happen because jobs are going to be created and therefore it would even be worse for the NDP. Maybe there's another position taken by some persons why they're vexed. And then I hear the other thing about, like I said, those who say, well, maybe that is it for the quarry. No, it doesn't mean that. In every business, you diversify your portfolio. As a matter, that is the most sensible thing to do, actually. It goes back to the whole idea you normally hear from grandparents and they're like, don't put all the eggs in one basket. You have entities that are involved in retail and accommodation. You have those who have supermarkets, but also into the hotel business or apartment business. You have those who may be in construction business, but also involved in agriculture. You have to diversify your portfolio. You have financial institutions, business. So when I hear some people say, well, because radio industries is now into the agricultural sector in buying produce from farmers and the like. No, it doesn't mean that at all. Because it makes good business sense in diversifying your portfolio, your assets. It's the same reason why the government is diversifying the agricultural sector. You can't put all the eggs in one basket. That is what the NDP had going on in this country for many years. Putting all the eggs in one basket, saying let's just focus on bananas. Supporters who still cannot come to grasp that bananas alone is not agriculture. Some of them actually believe that agriculture is bananas alone and that's it. No. But that is because of the policy of the then government. But in today's era, under Unity Labour Party government, in modernizing our economy, you have to diversify the sector. So while some may call for a return of bananas, well, you're diversifying. You have cocoa, you have root crops, you have exotic crops or vegetables, you have cocoa, and like I said, you're refining chocolate and the like. You have flour and different, you have breadfruit flour, you have arrowroot flour, all kinds, different varieties. It's the same reason why you have the biotech facility, Orange Hill, which assists in that regard. We are diversifying. You have honey production here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. CMOS. All these make up and many more. We talk about the blue gold other day, dasheen, the tube, root crop. Diversifying the sector. And put all the eggs in one basket. And there's one I also didn't mention, which is major too. And I had some last night. Plantain. And plantain is very high demand. Because not only you fry plantain, you have the salted, unsalted, and sweet plantain chips. You have coconut water. When you go around the supermarkets and you see many of them on the shelves. Spices. All that encompass our agricultural sector. Not just bananas. comment coming in here. The people who are unhappy with Renault buying produce from farmers should speak to the farmers who collect the change the same time as they sell the produce. Farmers are happy because they at least know now. Because before they used to hot up their head, boy, who can we sell to? But they at least know now that they have a direct business entity that they can sell their produce to. And not only that, and know that they will get their money. Very important. But let me take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning, good morning, how are you?
Good morning. I'm good, man.
I want to ask two questions.
Yes.
I don't know if we have a lot of time running St. Vincent.
Yes.
As a man to agriculture, you could able to, when it's time running season, somebody could go in the field and pick them and sell them out.
Well, I would tell you this. There's I sometimes you see on the shelves tamarind juice.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And what can grapes and apple grow in St. Vincent?
Yeah, I know someone who grew grapes. Well, not grew, they still grow grapes. Yes, I know.
Yeah. The thing they could put you can wait up for America to say, well, have grapes and have apple, I got to pay so expensive.
But the thing is that I don't know. This is always the question when it comes to the cost of production and whether it would be feasible to have mass production of these things, because there are many technologies. One, you have to look at the temperature and a lot of things you have to do to ensure that they grow right.
Yeah.
So there are those factors that you have to take into consideration. But I know someone who grow grapes here. I know someone.
Yeah, and also because when the plumbing season, instead of the plum goes on there, because you have a lot of things we could produce in St. Vincent, and put it on, because sometimes in America outside you don't see these kind of products like that, and then when you do show me at a place for somewhat expensive for them, which is where we have them at our hand down there. But I say, well, some in the field, some in the factory and manufacturing, and some post out there, so then you're always producing. I don't know if that is a area could you look into, because all that from agriculture and so on, So that's my contribution.
Right.
And also don't forget you could also make breadfruit chips.
Yes. Well, I will tell you this. I know in some supermarkets you see breadfruit flour.
Yes.
Yeah. Breadfruit flour.
No, this that didn't make it no breadfruit punch.
Yes.
If I either drink it a lot out here. All right, brother.
Okay, man. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really don't know why there are some persons who beating up on Rainbow Industries for assisting, and let me just make this other point, because they talk about local. Rainbow is a St. Lucian. We have businesses here in St. Vincent and Grenadines that are established elsewhere, even in North America. Local persons have businesses elsewhere. I don't know sometimes why we go down that sort of road. And we are working towards a common goal. As a matter of fact, the issue of food security and reducing the import bill is a regional effort. And this is part of helping in ramping up production. So I don't know why some persons vex. Like I said, maybe the politics, access, and being able to produce more and sell more and make more money, that is a bad thing for the NDP. Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just going along the same line that Leacock went along, as to why we shouldn't have more hotels, as to why Sandals shouldn't invest more money, as to why we shouldn't allow any quarry, because more people are going to get jobs, more income generated, and therefore it will make the government look good. Maybe it's just that. Who knows? Because I really can't understand. I really can't. Are happy. Even those involved in livestock, those who sell the cattle and the like, they're happy that they can have direct market access and being able to sell produce, sell livestock. they're happy. Because that also will help them grow their business, will help them to produce even more, will help them to create more jobs, because it's not just one person working on a farm. Particular sector itself. So there are different types of jobs, from the production to go into the depot to sell over. Different jobs created. And of course, as I always mention, in agriculture and modernizing the sector is also adding value to what we grow, which is important. Adding value to what we grow, having quality produce, and being able to satisfy the demand out there. Very, very important. And we in the Unity Labour Party, I can tell you how we reach in there. We already see examples of it. Again, in our supermarkets. Let us take this. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
I hear you speaking about rain. Could you say where the location
On Rosebank.
rather than Rosebank? That is too extreme for producers in the Green Hill shops, Dorsetshire Hill, Gomez area. So when you have your produce, you have to take them by vehicle to either Lauders or Rosebank.
Well, the thing is, there's always a start in every business. And like I said, Reno is looking to expand. There are actually other areas being identified, you know.
Yes, because shops produce a lot of edibles and ginger, Dorsetshire Hill potatoes and so on. And if people are interested, they would not.
But I also want to make.
Presently, they would not want to go to Lauders because there's an extra.
I know you're taking into consideration the transportation cost.
Transportation,
which is part of the business model. But I want to say this as well. Let us not forget that every week we have produce also going down to Kingston Port as well.
Yeah.
Let us not forget.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about that module that you're speaking about.
Yes.
Because every farmer would not sell a speculator.
Yes.
Because of the hiccups you're having with speculators and getting your money. And that's why a lot of people are refraining from going back into agriculture because of the problems they're having with.
Well, the same track which we are on, based on your sentiments that you would like to see Reno expand and thrive. Hello?
That is just my concern for the day.
Okay, but yes, I note your concern, and like I said, as a business now upcoming, you're gonna expand. All right. Well, at least I believe that the gentleman depot here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So that's at least where the contribution, yes, transportation costs and the like. But also let's not forget as well, you have farmers who also basically send or transport produce to Kingston Port, and you have farmers who also sell to the Reno Industries is looking, and then you're going to expand to more depot and more areas where persons can bring their produce to sell over, So I think the gentleman and many patriotic Vincentians would be on the same track in wanting to see that happen, because we all know that this will benefit many more farmers. As you have the expansion and more farmers get involved, that's benefit from various households in this country. Farmers, those involved in trucking, who have to transport produce to and from, very important. And seeing this sector grow. And you also have the government focusing on honey production. You have persons involved in that. Locally produced honey. You have sea moss being exported out of the country. Packaged, labeled, adding value to what we grow. The similar situation is with spices, nutmegs, the cinnamon. You also have Marby bark. Well packaged, well labeled, adding value to what we grow. I mentioned coconut water. Not just picking the coconut, cutting it, and then put a straw in it, or you put it directly to your mouth and drink. But in adding value to that is the bottling of it, the labeling of it, also for local and regional markets. Because in adding value, again, you create many additional jobs. So you may have someone who picking the coconut, but you also have the processing part, the processing and the labeling part of it. Other jobs in that chain. From those who, of course, going to make sure that the bottles are washed, etc., and prepared. Those who making sure the water go into the bottle. Those who have to distribution. Different jobs created just in that alone. Cocoa, chocolate, from those who will pick the pods, sun them, some may even suck them. Then you have to patch them. You have to either grind or the machine to refine that cocoa. Different jobs created there. From the tree to the end product, which is the chocolate bar. That's how you grow. That's how you modernize. And that is what we in the Unity Labour Party find and in building a modern economy. Not just growing, but also in adding value, because as you add value to what you grow, you create more jobs and you have income generation, different levels in the country. And we have to understand that. And we have to look at the ideas and the vision of the government and grasp it. It's the same reason why you have fish processing facilities and you have the blackfish processing facility being constructed. Because it's not only about catching fish. And you have the fisher folk who will go out on the waters at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning and catch fish. And they may have 3, 4, 6 of them. But you're also going to have those who would purchase from them. And in the processing part, they will sell to the processing facility. And then you have jobs created in that very same facility where you clean the fish. You may either fillet them, package them, vacuum them. Important, labeling of them, sealing of them, and freezing them. And of course, you have the truck who will distribute them, whether at various supermarkets or at the port for export. Jobs that will be created just in that chain alone. The importance of adding value. That is where St. Vincent and Grenadines is at that. And you have rainforesty food where that is being done. You have in Beckway, you have Union, processing facility under construction. So that is why, again, ladies and gentlemen, when I hear there are those out there who will say that the government doesn't have a plan or isn't doing anything in advancing our productive sectors and creating jobs, these things I mentioned to you, they are real. That is why you can have over 80 to 100 persons working food facility. The one in Beckway is real. Getting jobs, average man and woman. That is why you also have production farms. You have supporting the that is why the government and the Minister of Finance mentioned it this year. Chamber to deal with bends, because of course when you're focusing on catching up, you may have complications that you have to. That is why you have hand tillers and tractor services and fertilizers, because the government's campaign is ramping up production geared towards food security and export-led strategy. How many we had in this country when I didn't have to import eggs in the Siemens and grand beans? Didn't have to import at all. And we have the hatchery also that assists those in poultry. So how can persons say that the government ain't doing anything? Or that the government doesn't have a plan in how we move forward and create jobs and advance our productive sectors? Huh? How? You know how much fertilizers assist farmers in terms of production costs? And also you, the consumer? Free fertilizers or heavily subsidized fertilizers, you know how much farmers benefit from that? Because that is a cost that they don't really have to. If it's free, then of course you have to count in that cost basically, because it's free. If it's subsidized, well then of course the price comes down a bit, your production cost. These are ways the government is helping farmers. Just some of them. I never mentioned our farmer support company assisted persons before. Well, let me take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to share.
Yeah, brother. Well, Sunday was a blast.
Yes, it was
So
indeed.
that for sure. Yeah, man. Sunday was a blast. Big up the whole team, big up the comrade, everybody. But you know,
Uh-huh.
well, the NDP take over the whole Sunday, you know. A man when they hate so much, so them have to follow still.
Well, you see,
then-
where there is content and substance, you follow.
You have to follow. You have to follow. But they had it only well. The Kings them busy Sunday. They busy Sunday. All over. They busy. Oh, nobody ain't go there. That would be a spaceship on the Sunday. Crazy. As we tell them every day, Labour can't lose. Never. Again with this, the ruling from the judge, right?
Yes.
Came back and saying them going wrong like it's so unconstitutional for the government for appeal. Anybody, people who get in charge with more than appealing
Yes.
appealing verdict.
Yes, they do.
Petition, did the judge make a ruling
Yes.
that it was free and fair? Them appeal it. So why they going wrong anyhow? They go bamboozle them supporters, as they always do. But the normal man work with common sense and see and know what's going on. But they need to stop do them thing me. Government is doing nothing wrong with appealing. The government have a right if they want to appeal, them appeal. If I do something and I decide, boy, me satisfied I want to appeal, I appeal the same way. Any normal man outside who are matter before he court and such what they can do and then decide they're going to appeal, they appeal. They have a right to appeal. But as we say, for whatever, backward never.
That's right.
But you know what funny? I I see you yesterday, boy, you been now stepping in your vehicle, I will meet you and I want some find out some information.
Okay, no problem.
So when I see you, I'm going to say that I make you know whether I'm being called still.
All right, man, no problem. Well, my number is 497-3413. If anything. 497-3413.
497-3413?
Yeah.
All right.
I want bless up. But yeah. No one can deny that the government has made substantive amount of investments into the productive sector. You now have tuna vessels. And the government is looking to invest, well, not to buy large vessels, and where persons will be trained in handling these and operating these vessels. All that is part of modernizing our productive sector, in particular in this case, the blue economy. But as I asked the question, maybe it's because to have these things ongoing and benefiting from generated and circulated more income, it may be bad for the NEP, and that is why you hear some persons who criticize these things, which right-thinking Vincentians, patriotic Vincentians, would know it is the best for the country. Created, we should be happy. Where you have the possibility of increased income, we should be happy. Where you have standard of living of people being improved, we should be happy. Where that will bring more economic activity in that area, we should be happy. We should not behave as if certain areas are simply left or best just to be green, overridden with bush. And the way some persons behave, sometimes I wonder if they believe same as it was how many years ago. Many of us, we drive up to the leeward side of the island, and you had to disturb certain habitat and ecosystem to build those roads. We had to. And of course, you strike a balance between that. And that is why you, of course, have forestry division, you have land and survey, because they make sure at least you have forest reserves and there are certain habitat that you don't disturb. But you have to strike a balance. You can't just say the whole place should stay green. You can't say the whole place should stay green. No, you strike a balance. We needed an international airport. Yes, they had homes out there. You had a church, you had a burial ground. You also had a lot of greenery. You had some farmlands. But you have to strike a balance, national interest. We all need an international airport. So, these are some of the things that we have to be mindful about. when we having discussions. You hear some people say, oh, why you have a quarry day? Why this day? Why you're building a hotel day? You have to strike a balance. As a matter of fact, for those, going back to the quarry issue, I remember there are those who said, well, it's a lot of farmlands and the like. We had a lot of farmers who use herbicides and pesticides that may be of a more environmental degradation and negative impact than anything else. Because you also have table rock where you get water table on the ground. But again, in striking balances. And therefore, this thing that some persons have carried on, it's not needed. It's the same reason we have medical cannabis industry. Millions of dollars. Many persons employed. From the production to the processing, labeling, because of course you have to extract the medical properties, including the oil that you need. And that takes a level of expertise, whether by a lab technician or the like. That's also part of modernizing and diversifying. And there are those, I remember the NDP, they actually had a column. And that is the good thing about, writing and things, it's always on record. They actually had a column in the NDP View that every Vincentian should have the opportunity in planting at least 5 trees in the backyard. Would never forget that. That was written in an NDP column. Of course, seen by the opposition leader, saying that every single household in this country should be given the chance to have at least 5 trees in the backyard, 5 ganja trees. But if you do that, well, first of all, I like to look at things in many different lenses. First of all, if you look at the economics of it, that would significantly carry down the value of the produce itself. That's one. 2, which is my most major concern, the issue of abuse. Whatever you use, once you abuse it, it's bad. And even worse, with cannabis, you can have a lot of problems in the homes, in society, because of abuse of the plant. And how we're going to monitor that, how we're going to deal with that. The other part, of course, is that in utilizing the best resource we have, which is land, you want to make sure that whatever you engage in, you can make real income and create jobs. You're not creating jobs by telling people, every household, that you could get up to 5 ganja plants in the backyard. You're creating no jobs that way. As a matter of fact, you're doing more harm. Because the other thing is, let's say, all right, you plant the 5 ganja plant in the backyard and you're looking to sell. Well, one of all, the value done gone down significantly because everybody have the opportunity to grow it. The second thing is, we're going to bank that money. The bank's not going to allow you to put that money inside the institution. You have to engage in some sort of trade. Because the bank's going to say, hey, we're not going to touch this because we'll get red flag from the international community, including corresponding banks. And therefore, we can't hold the money for you. What are you going to do? So, it shows you which political party thinks things true and serious about development, and which party doesn't. And clearly the NDP, they don't think things through. Because first of all, they don't care about development. They say things that they believe you will like to hear. You know, again, I come back to this relationship analogy. Oftentimes we say we prefer people who are real with us and not who say things that we want to hear. Often say that to yourself. You prefer somebody who real with you, not somebody who just going to say things that you want to hear. The person who say things that you want to hear most times isn't genuine. Most times they're not genuine. I received a call from a friend 2 days ago critiquing something I did. And I was very appreciative of it because that's how you learn, that's how you grow. And I wasn't angry or vexed or sad or whatever. Because you know that person genuinely care about you. But if you have someone who simply say things that you want to hear, then you question, boy, do they really care about me? Even if they see it as bad. They know it is bad, but they still say, all right, because that's where you want to go ahead. They don't care about you. So when you have, for example, and the whole 5 ganja plant in the backyard, they don't care about you. They don't care about whether your children, your grandchildren would abuse it. They don't care that you no matter where the way they take care of bank the money, nothing. They don't care about that. All they care about is that, boy, it could sound nice. Some people calling for it, so that we say it instead. But thankfully, you have a government, you have a political party in the Unity Labour Party. We make tough decisions when we have to. But most of all, and you often hear the Prime Minister, he has a clean conscience because at least you know what you're doing is right. It's the right thing to do. And it's not just about telling you what you may want to hear at times. I often go back to this example with the sailors. When they had many Vincentians, I would never forget it, many Vincentians who at the time felt that, look, the sailors on the cruise ship during the pandemic, they should stay where they did. I would never forget that. Stay where they did. And the Prime Minister of this country said, no, they are Vincentians and we have to bring them home. But of course, you have to follow the protocol. The cruise ships have to follow the protocol. And when the NDP realized that the thing catching on, they then turn around. I could never forget it. They then turn around. And Leacock was very vocal on it, the MP for Central Kingston. Turn around and say, well, okay, forget the protocols, just let it come off the ship just like that. And then they made up this whole thing that, boy, because of the protocols and the strong position the government was taking, Royal Caribbean and Carnival Cruise, and they won't want to come back to St. Vincent and they won't employ a soul from St. Vincent. And what happened now? We had many pros who signed up for Carnival and Royal Caribbean. And we had many cruise ships that came. And the government, of course, was right. And despite some of the criticisms it received at first, because they know what you're doing is right thing to do, they go ahead with it. We don't just say things because, oh, it's what people want to hear. No. And that is how you know who's genuine and who isn't genuine. That's how you know. It's just as in a home. You have a child, there are certain things a child would do or would want to do that he wouldn't encourage, that he would stop them right in the track. And that's love, because you care about them. But they have those, and this is how the NDP does operate. They know the child going down the wrong road. They know what the child doing isn't what they're supposed to do. But they say, all right, go ahead nonetheless. That isn't love. And that is why all these things that we're doing, and the caller talk about the whole vaccine issue and the quotes. I had a conversation with two friends who are of opposing view, and I said what I had to say, and they were appreciative of that. But we had to save lives. We had to protect lives and livelihoods. And I mentioned this in the discussion. And for those who say that the government is wicked, I said, there's a reason why last year, or even the year before, that the government hired teachers on a contractual basis. You hear a lot of noise out there, people saying all kind of things. But there's a reason why the government hired teachers who, of course, had to teach in the classroom because a particular teacher didn't want to take the vaccine and the like. There's a reason why they were hired on a contractual basis. Because the government knew that at some point, the epidemiological situation would change in the country. And of course, when that situation changed, and they had the contracts came to an end, I think in June, July period, what the government did is say, we give you an opportunity to reapply for your post, go back, same grade, same pay, and keep your benefits. We said that, as much as you hear process, I listen, like I said, I was in a discussion with a friend. I let you talk, and then I respond. And I don't shout, I don't this, I respond calmly. And I have to think it logically. So I started out like that. Yeah, there's a reason why they were hired on a contractual basis, not permanent, on a contractual basis. And when that situation changed, the government said, all right, we are giving you the opportunity to reapply for your post. Because, of course, those who are hired on contract, the contract end. And you have the opportunity to reapply, apply, go back, same grade, same pay, keep your benefits. And of course, you can continue by all means with a court case. Fine. How is that wickedness? How is that wickedness? And I know, you and I know, there are persons who actually took up that opportunity, including Nikisha Williams, prominent person in the teachers union, prominent voice, also who oftentimes in opposition against the government. And she herself said when she reapplied, there are persons who say, well, basically you're wasting time because you ain't going to get you, because in their mind again, and this teach you another lesson in life. Sometimes you got to just go ahead and do what you got to do and stop listening to noise and foolishness. Because there are those who say, well, because you're a critic against government so much, you ain't going to get you. What she got you nonetheless. And she didn't even go back to the classroom. She went to the Ministry of Education. And that again, is for those who does talk about victimization and the like, that is a perfect example as to the foolishness sometimes you hear some people say that you shouldn't believe. How is that wicked? And there are persons who took up that opportunity. And you heard the Prime Minister even Sunday saying that, hey, you can reapply. Now the issue, and this is the issue I have now, and I raised it in the discussion, is that after those, they reapply, etc., you have certain posts filled. I hear persons talk about reinstatement. Now, if a position is filled permanently, in order for someone to be hired, there must be a vacancy. Not so, there must be a vacancy. Unless, I know there are some persons, I don't know, unless they maybe believe that those who replace the person, that you should fire them and hire back the person. It don't work so. It don't work so at all. There's the other issue. That is why I'm very calm about this, so persons can understand. The other issue is that, let us not forget, overwhelming majority of public servants who are required to be vaccinated got vaccinated. I think sometimes people forget that part. They made a conscious decision to be vaccinated. Nobody forced them. They had a choice. And they made a choice to be vaccinated, and some made a choice not to be vaccinated. As simple as that. Choice. And there are those who I know, I've heard conversations, who believe that it will be unfair for them having taken that step in their life to be vaccinated, to do what was right. And whether safeguarding the life, whether safeguarding the livelihood, whatever, think that it would be unfair now for persons to just turn up on the job who didn't get vaccinated. I'm just letting you know the discussions out there. And the last point I made, because for those who are of the mind that the government should not appeal, I made the point before, there's a reason why our justice system has a court of appeal, has a high court, a court of appeal, and privy council. And in some jurisdictions, the Caribbean Court of Justice. There's a reason why. And the reason that is, fundamentally and on principle, is that even the justice system, the court system, recognize that there are instances, lower court divisions, or judges can err in their judgment, in that they can be incorrect in the judgment. And that is why you have Court of Appeal and you have Privy Council, because even the justice system recognizes that. Yeah? The second thing, this is a very important matter. It is the first time that the governments in the Caribbean, and in particular St. Vincent and Grenadines, had to come up with a blueprint to deal with a pandemic like this. Book it show there will be other pandemics to come. Now, I am not saying that I am, normally people talk about Nostradamus or God or whatever, but there are just some things that, will happen. One is death, of course, we all have to die. And given how the world is operating, and urbanization, and the ease of access and travel globally, and it's becoming much easier, that diseases and viruses will even spread easier, and there will be pandemics to come. Already here, I think Jamaica has 3 monkeypox cases. That is the last figure I heard. I'm not saying that it may become a pandemic, because from my understanding, its mortality rate is a bit higher, and therefore once a virus mortality rate is a bit higher, it spreads slower. But, like I said, Jamaica has 3 cases. We heard about monkeypox before, far from Jamaica, but it has 3. It's reaching the Caribbean. So these things will happen, and therefore, an important issue like this in how you deal and respond to a pandemic is very important, not just for St. Vincent, for the government of St. Vincent and Grenada. And when I say government, government present and any future government, but also for governments in the Caribbean, because it will now form part of the jurisprudence of the Caribbean in how you deal and respond legally to pandemics. Very important. So important is like this, you just can't leave it to a lower court or no. Of course, if in the appeal, the court ruled that the government was just and what it did was proportionate and legal, then of course that will form a blueprint. What the government did in having exemptions religiously, medically. You have a board for persons who thought they needed a medical exemption. If the Court of Appeal say, well, the government wasn't proportionate, of course, in the judgment, it will give reason and can look at the reasons and say, all right, well, instead of doing that, we'll do this. But at least at the end of the day, it will help to benefit our Caribbean legal jurisprudence in how we respond to pandemics. But I'm satisfied, and I'm quite sure that many persons are satisfied, that given the nature of COVID-19 pandemic, given what we saw, even in neighboring Grenada, that what the government did was the right response in saving lives and safeguarding livelihoods. And like I said, that there's a reason why persons were hired on a contractual basis. And where persons were given the opportunity to reapply, there are those who did reapply and got through, and there are those who just didn't bother, who remain stubborn. Yeah? Every one of us, we make choices in life. And as persons normally said, the older folks, how you make up your bed, you lay down in it. Simple. But at the end of the day, we are here. Persons 8, we didn't experience a lockdown. And well, unfortunately, lives were lost. So you can look at the stats and you can see most of them, of course, unvaccinated. Or I only had 1 dose. But what we did was right. Some made the call again for persons to reapply. And that can be a sign of wickedness. Is that in all your stubbornness, we are still giving you an opportunity. Yeah. So with that, thank you to those of you who call and interact with me on the program. I think today, as we speak, you have secondary inter-school sports. So I know many persons are taking in that. And of course, tomorrow we wrap up the week. So until then, take care, stay safe, and have a blessed and wonderful afternoon.
Thank you very much, Ferdinand. Of course, you are listening to WEFM's, well, the Shakeup program, a political interactive program right here on WEFM 99.9